Today we're going to talk about both Dr. Schneider and Dr. Carton. So the big thing I wanted to talk about with Dr. Schneider is actually the lab. And I did do quite a bit of research on both how an infectious disease lab works and which you kind of see the remnants of in Dr. Carton's lab, actually, not his house lab, the lab that they find Dr. Schneider in. And how you would resuscitate some of these freeze-dried samples. So my dad was really helpful in that. In case I haven't mentioned it before, my dad's a high school biology teacher, and he helped me a lot. He still helps me a lot with a lot of my science. And if he doesn't know something, he knows people who know something. So that's usually, I get a lot of my checking. I do my research and then he checks it to make sure I haven't said something stupid. So anyway, that long and short of it is, if I get something wrong, blame me. Don't blame him or the people who have, given me advice, because it's probably something I thought, oh, well, that's, good, but wouldn't work for the story. So that does happen. But in the end, in fact, I named the character Kevin after him. When Kevin is telling them how to, resuscitate the actual biological sample of the second plague, that is information from my father. So what usually happens is I ask him, okay, well, if you wanted to resuscitate one of these, how long do they last, first of all? And, what would you basically need to do it? And then he'll tell me like the actual scientific process of doing it. And they'll be like, okay, well, what can we sub in a post-apocalyptic society? Which is why you get things like a potato and beef broth, or, gelatin, because that is what Pazzo would have access to. Or for that matter, that Schneider would have access to. She wouldn't have access to a lot more than that. So that's usually how my process goes. But he's helped me with all of my books that have any kind of science in them. The space ones, the cured books, all of them. Anyhow, so Dr. Schneider, I think ended up a little more flat than I wanted her to as well. Again, it's been 10 years, no, closer to 15 years now. I've learned a lot since then. If I were to write her today, it would probably be clearer that she's not just a witch. She has her reasons for doing what she does. She's extremely practical, but she's super willing to take shortcuts, which is her downfall. So in case it wasn't clear in the books, and I'm not entirely sure I made it super clear, she is the one who actually came up with the cure, not Dr. Carton. She just didn't want to be associated with it because it was her that caused the plague in the first place, honestly. And she's kind of the motivating factor for Dr. Pazzo to go on his revenge tour, because he wants her to take some accountability for this. He doesn't want her to get away with what she's done. All right, so that leads us to Dr. Carton, who is ostensibly he's the person who made the cure. The people in the city think he's the one that made the cure. He is not a good scientist. He's more of a businessman, which is evidenced by what he does to blend in with the infected. He doesn't understand the scientific, why they act the way they act, and he sees them attack each other, but he still tries to blend in that way, because he's not really thinking that way. He's thinking like a a layperson. And then his cannibalism after the fact is practical waste management, basically based on what Schneider tells him. He's used to it, so he continues to go along with it. When I wrote them, I kind of wanted them to get some kind of justice, even though it wasn't, I knew they weren't going to get justice in the court. Like, if somebody had, especially Carton, like Schneider might have, but if somebody's hailed as a hero for curing this awful bacteria, then it's exposed that he may have had something to do with developing it. I think I don't have a lot of faith that he would be held to account, even less than now than I did, 13, 14 years ago when I originally wrote this. I didn't have a lot of faith that he would get what was coming to him, which I think having to suffer the way that he has to survive and beyond is kind of the justice that he deserves. Not necessarily justice the infected deserved, but they shouldn't have been experimented on, obviously, because they were still human beings, and someone like Schneider would have known that they were still human beings, and they still, existed, but whether they could be recovered or not, she might not necessarily know. So yeah, that's kind of the karmic justice portion of this book, was what happened to Carton, and in the end what happened to Schneider, which Pazzo was convinced as well that she wouldn't get justice, so he took it upon himself to give her what she deserved. So that's kind of all I had for them. Again, they were much flatter than I would write today. I would probably make them more complex people. I don't think I wrote Schneider with any sense of guilt for what happened, which I regret, because I think she would, even if she were as driven as I wrote her to be, I still think she would have felt guilt, and I didn't get that across as well as I should have, or even consider it as much as I should have, to be honest. So today I would rate them very differently. They'd probably end up more like Nella's mentor, kind of personality-wise. But that's part of developing as a writer. So that's about it for them. Tomorrow we will talk about Dr. Preston. I'm sorry, Father Preston.